Move that fire truck, now!
I can't, officer. We have victims trapped in those vehicles.
Where did you get that captain's badge? You don't look like you're in charge here.
I'm Captain Williams, LAFD Engine 23. I'm the incident commander at this rescue.
Hands behind your back. Don't argue with me.
You're arresting me?
Un massif car accident. 5 vehicles. Multiple victims trapped in twisted metal. Flames starting to spread from one of the engines. Los Angeles Fire Department Engine 23 arrives on scene first. Captain Marcus Williams, a 12-year veteran firefighter, immediately begins directing his crew and blocking traffic lanes to protect the crash site. In exactly 90 seconds, a California Highway Patrol officer will arrive on scene, demand that Captain Williams move his fire truck, and when he refuses, because moving it would endanger the victims, that officer will arrest him. Arrest a firefighter in full uniform at an active emergency scene while people are dying 50 feet away. This is the body cam footage from both the police officer and the firefighter that sparked a statewide investigation, led to federal intervention, and nearly destroyed the career of a decorated hero. Because sometimes the biggest danger in an emergency scene isn't the fire, it's the badge. To understand what happened that night, you need to know who Marcus Williams is. 41 years old, born and raised in South Central Los Angeles. 12 years with the Los Angeles Fire Department. Over 300 emergency responses. Decorated twice for bravery. Once for pulling a family of 4 from a burning apartment building, and once for performing CPR on a drowning child for 17 minutes until paramedics arrived. He was one of the few black captains in his district. A mentor to younger firefighters. A man who'd spent his entire adult life running toward danger when everyone else was running away. But on this night, none of that would matter. Because on this night, Marcus Williams would learn that wearing a fire department uniform doesn't always protect you. Not when another uniform decides you're the problem. The call came in at 9:43 p.m. Multi-vehicle accident. Highway 101 northbound near exit 47. Reports of entrapment. Possible fire. All units respond. Engine 23 was less than 2 miles away. Captain Williams was driving. His crew of 3 firefighters were gearing up in the back. They arrived on scene at 9:47 p.m. What they found was chaos. A semi-truck had jackknifed across 3 lanes. 4 cars had crashed into it and each other. One vehicle was completely crushed, barely recognizable as a car anymore. Another was on its side. Broken glass everywhere. Gasoline pooling on the asphalt. And smoke. Thick, black smoke pouring from under the hood of the semi-truck. Captain Williams did exactly what he'd been trained to do for 12 years. He positioned his fire truck diagonally across the highway lanes, a maneuver called blocking, to create a protected work zone. This prevented oncoming traffic from plowing into the accident scene and killing his firefighters or the crash victims. It's standard procedure. It's taught in every fire academy in America. It's literally in the firefighter manual. You block the lanes. You protect the scene. You save lives. His crew jumped out and immediately went to work. 2 firefighters ran to the crushed car where a woman was screaming for help, her leg pinned under the dashboard. Another firefighter grabbed the fire extinguisher and ran toward the smoking semi-truck. Captain Williams stood in the center of the scene, coordinating, directing traffic around the blocked lanes, calling out instructions to his crew. Everything was going exactly as it should. And then the California Highway Patrol officer arrived. Officer Bradley Hutchins had been a CHP officer for 6 years. He was responding to the same accident call, arriving on scene at 9:49 p.m., just 2 minutes after the fire department. His body cam was recording, and what it captured would later be played in courtrooms, congressional hearings, and on national news. Officer Hutchins pulled up in his patrol car, got out, looked at the scene, and immediately walked toward Captain Williams with his hand on his radio. "Who's in charge here?" he called out. Captain Williams turned around. "I am. Captain Marcus Williams, Engine 23. We've got 5 vehicles, multiple victims trapped, possible fire situation." Officer Hutchins cut him off. "You need to move that fire truck. Now, it's blocking traffic." Captain Williams blinked, not sure he'd heard correctly. "Sir, we're blocking the lanes for safety. We've got active rescue operations happening. Moving the truck would expose my firefighters and the victims to oncoming traffic. "I don't care," Officer Hutchins said. His voice was rising. "This is MY Highway. I'm in command here. Move the truck or I'll have it towed." Now, here's what you need to understand about emergency scene protocols. In California, and in most states, fire departments have legal authority over emergency scenes involving fire, rescue, or medical emergencies. Law enforcement handles traffic control and criminal matters, but the fire department is in charge of the rescue operations. This isn't opinion. This is law. Captain Williams knew this. He'd been doing this for 12 years. So he stayed calm and tried to explain. "Officer, with all due respect, this is an active fire and rescue scene. California Vehicle Code 22112 gives fire apparatus the authority to block traffic lanes when necessary for emergency operations. We have victims trapped in vehicles 50 feet away. I can't move the truck until we've secured the scene." Officer Hutchins' face went red. "Are you refusing a lawful order?" "I'm following fire department protocol and state law," Captain Williams said. "Once we've extracted the victims and secured the vehicles, we'll move the truck. But right now, moving would be dangerous." Behind them, one of the firefighters shouted, "Captain, we need the jaws of life. This woman's leg is crushed." Captain Williams turned to respond to his firefighter. And that's when Officer Hutchins made his move. "Turn around. Hands behind your back." Captain Williams spun around, confused. Officer Hutchins had his handcuffs out. "What?" "Officer, I'm in the middle of a rescue operation. You're under arrest for obstruction of a peace officer and failure to comply with a lawful order. Hands behind your back." Now, the body cam footage shows the moment Marcus Williams' expression changed from confusion to disbelief. "You're arresting me? There are people dying right now. Hands behind your back." Captain Williams looked over at his crew. They'd stopped what they were doing and were staring at the scene in shock. The woman trapped in the car was still screaming. Another firefighter, Lieutenant James Rodriguez, ran over. "Officer, what are you doing? We're in the middle of an active rescue. The captain needs to coordinate. Step back or you'll be arrested too." Officer Hutchins snapped. Lieutenant Rodriguez pulled out his phone and started recording. Officer Hutchins grabbed Captain Williams' wrist and yanked it behind his back. The handcuffs clicked shut. "This is insane," Captain Williams said. His voice was steady, but you could hear the anger underneath. "You're handcuffing a firefighter at an emergency scene. You should have moved the truck when I told you to," Officer Hutchins said. He walked Captain Williams to the patrol car, past the crash victims, past the firefighters who'd stopped working to stare in shock, past the woman still trapped and screaming in the crushed vehicle. The body cam footage shows Captain Williams being placed in the back of the patrol car, while 50 feet away, his fire crew stands frozen, not sure what to do. Their captain, their leader, has just been arrested in the middle of an emergency. Lieutenant Rodriguez made a decision. He pulled out his radio. "Dispatch, this is Engine 23. Our captain has just been arrested by CHP at an active rescue scene. We need a battalion chief on site immediately. We also need another engine company for mutual aid. We've still got victims trapped." Within minutes, 2 more fire engines arrived. A battalion chief, Chief Patricia Hayes, pulled up and immediately confronted Officer Hutchins. "Did you just arrest one of my captains at an active emergency scene?" "He refused a lawful order to move his vehicle," Officer Hutchins said. Chief Hayes was a 25-year veteran of the fire service. She'd seen a lot in her career, but she'd never seen this. "Officer, fire apparatus has the legal right to block traffic at emergency scenes. It's state law. You just arrested my captain for following protocol." "Well, he can explain that to the judge," Officer Hutchins said. Meanwhile, in the back of the patrol car, Captain Marcus Williams sat in handcuffs, watching through the window as his crew worked to save the crash victims without him. Captain Williams spent 4 hours in custody that night. He was booked, fingerprinted, and held in a holding cell while his crew, now operating under Lieutenant Rodriguez's temporary command, successfully rescued all 5 crash victims. The woman with the crushed leg survived. So did everyone else in the accident. No thanks to Officer Hutchins, who spent the next hour writing up his arrest report while firefighters did the actual work of saving lives. When Captain Williams was finally released at 2 a.m., he drove straight home, still in his uniform, and sat in his driveway for 30 minutes trying to process what had just happened. He'd been a firefighter for 12 years. He'd saved countless lives. He'd never been arrested, never even gotten a speeding ticket. And now he had an arrest record for doing his job. The next morning, the story broke. Lieutenant Rodriguez had sent his phone video to the fire department union. The union sent it to the local news. Within 24 hours, the video of a black firefighter being handcuffed at an emergency scene was viral. The headlines were everywhere. Firefighter arrested while trying to save crash victims. CHP officer handcuffs fire captain at active rescue scene. Bodycam footage shows shocking arrest of decorated firefighter. The Los Angeles Fire Department released a statement supporting Captain Williams and condemning the arrest. The California Highway Patrol initially defended Officer Hutchins, claiming he was maintaining order at a chaotic scene. That's when things got serious. The firefighters union filed a federal lawsuit. The NAACP got involved, calling it racial profiling. Several civil rights organizations demanded an investigation. And then the California Attorney General's office stepped in. They reviewed the body cam footage. They interviewed witnesses. They consulted with legal experts on emergency scene protocols. Their conclusion? Officer Hutchins had violated state law, fire department protocols, and Captain Williams' civil rights. The charges against Captain Williams were dropped immediately. But the story didn't end there. The Attorney General's investigation uncovered something disturbing. This wasn't the first time Officer Bradley Hutchins had clashed with firefighters. In the previous 3 years, he'd filed complaints against fire departments 4 times, all for blocking traffic at emergency scenes. 3 of those complaints were against fire captains or chiefs who were black or Latino. The pattern was undeniable. Further investigation revealed that Officer Hutchins had a history of disciplinary issues related to authority conflicts and inappropriate escalation. He'd been reprimanded twice for excessive force complaints, though both had been dismissed by internal affairs. He'd also made several social media posts, later deleted but recovered by investigators, expressing hostility toward diversity hires in public safety and complaints about affirmative action ruining standards. The picture became clear. Officer Hutchins saw a black fire captain in a position of authority at an emergency scene. He saw someone he could challenge, someone he could put in their place, and he used his badge to do it. The California Highway Patrol, facing enormous public pressure and potential federal civil rights violations, launched a formal investigation. 6 months later, Officer Bradley Hutchins was terminated from the California Highway Patrol. He also faced criminal charges for false arrest, civil rights violations, and abuse of authority. In a plea deal to avoid trial, he was sentenced to 18 months in prison, 5 years probation, and permanent disqualification from ever working in law enforcement again. The California State Legislature passed new legislation, informally called Marcus's Law, explicitly clarifying that fire personnel have authority at emergency scenes and making it a felony for law enforcement to interfere with active rescue operations. Captain Marcus Williams returned to duty 3 weeks after the arrest. His fellow firefighters gave him a standing ovation when he walked into the station. He continues to serve with the Los Angeles Fire Department today. He's been promoted to battalion chief and now helps train new firefighters, including teaching them about their legal rights at emergency scenes. The crash victims he was trying to save that night, all 5 of them showed up at the hearing where Officer Hutchins was sentenced. They testified about how the firefighters saved their lives while one of their leaders sat handcuffed in a police car. The woman with the crushed leg, her name is Jennifer Martinez, became a close friend of Marcus Williams. She speaks at fire academies now, telling the story of a night firefighters saved her life and one of them was arrested for it. Officer Bradley Hutchins served his sentence and was released in 2024. He's prohibited from working in law enforcement for life. The lawsuit filed by Captain Williams against the California Highway Patrol was settled for an undisclosed amount. The settlement included mandatory training for all CHP officers on emergency scene protocols and cooperation with fire departments. And Marcus Williams? He says he'd do it all again because blocking those traffic lanes, the thing he was arrested for, saved lives that night. His crew was able to work safely. No firefighters were hit by oncoming traffic. All 5 crash victims survived. I took an oath to protect lives, he said in an interview 6 months after the incident. I didn't take an oath to back down when someone with a bigger ego and a badge tried to stop me from doing that. I'll block traffic lanes at emergency scenes for the rest of my career if that's what it takes to bring people home alive. Sometimes doing your job means standing your ground. Sometimes protecting lives means refusing to move. And sometimes being a hero means getting handcuffed for it. Captain Marcus Williams understood that, even when it cost him everything. If this story moved you, hit subscribe. We tell the true stories of firefighters and ER doctors who risk everything, including their freedom, to save lives. What would you have done in Captain Williams' position? Drop a comment. This is life or death Bodycam, where doing the right thing sometimes means paying the price. See you in the next story.